We have as our main match Spurs against Stoke, a match that is simply bursting with goals. The match also brings back to London that great former West Ham favourite Geoff Hurst and his old West Ham colleague in a Spurs shirt this afternoon, the skipper Martin Peters, confronting him. Also arguably the two top goalkeepers in Britain. For Spurs, of course, it's Pat Jennings, while at the other end in the Stoke goal, the one and only Gordon Banks.
And there's a good piece of play by Peters. Coates running well for it as well. And Stoke in a little bit of trouble there. Gilzean, and then nodded back by Pejic as far as Banks, and it doesn't get to him. And the header and a goal by John Pratt. As Stoke hesitated, Pratt made no mistake. Lurking on the edge of that 6-yard area. Terrible hesitancy there in the Stoke defence. And Pratt got up above them all. And Spurs go ahead with 3.5 minutes gone. Played wide again to Pratt. And the cross this time to Gilzean! Oh, a marvellous goal by Alan Gilzean! With a lovely cross again. From the right, eluding those Stoke City defenders. And Gilzean, that master of the header, there to finish it off and make it 2-0. Oh, pass back there by Peters. Straight to Ritchie, will it go? Yes, it has. And so John Ritchie has pulled one back for Stoke, given to him by Martin Peters. And although Pat Jennings just got a hand to it, it wasn't enough to stop that just crawling over the line. And totally unexpectedly, with Spurs dominating the game, Stoke have pulled one back to get back into it. Knowles, Coates. Brought down rather heavily there by Marsh. It was Ralph Coates. But it's going to be a free kick then to Tottenham. Chivers jumping forward, and Chivers winning it. Gilzean turning it back for Pratt. Oh, and John Pratt has scored another one. And a beautiful goal it was. And that was the reply from Tottenham. Nodded on beautifully by the two big men, by Chivers and by Gilzean. And Pratt was there to score his second goal of the game and put Spurs into a 3-1 lead. Now Gilzean with the ball at his feet to Martin Peters. Back heel to John Pratt, turning again, and Gilzean couldn't get to that one, but Knowles can. Letting one fly, and a good save by Banks. Ritchie again, trying to turn on it, but as he turned, he found Mike England was there. Terry Conroy. And a corner to Stoke. Conroy, scorer of one of the goals for Stoke at Wembley in the League Cup final against Chelsea. In fact, had a marvellous game here last year for Stoke against Spurs. There's Greenough turning it in, and Ritchie! John Ritchie, that sure head of his at the near post, as Greenough put it over. And that makes it 3-2. And the game really has not reached the heights it reached in the first half, but it's very difficult conditions out there, so very hot. But now Chivers turning it on. He hoped for Knowles. He'll get it back from Knowles. Chivers again. Will he let one go? Yes, he has, and that really was a real Chivers special that stung the hands of Gordon Banks. Tottenham's throw. Chivers handily placed there to hurl his long one. Gilzean also placed by the near post. Banks not really getting it with his fist. Bit of pushing and shoving there in the Stoke penalty area, and Knowles now to Ralph Coates, turning it across and turned in. Finally put there, presumably by Martin Peters. Coates turned it on superbly. From this angle, impossible to say whether Martin Peters did the finishing touch. But without any doubt at all, as a couple of supporters come on, goodness knows why. It's Mahoney for Stoke. Green off. And Bloor getting right in there. Yes! So 4-3. And Alan Bloor, who came in there on the blind side, totally unsuspected by that Spurs defence, put Stoke right back in it again with 7 minutes to go. And it's with Gilzean. And it's all over. No, it's not. Well, I don't know. The players don't seem to know. Yes, it's all over. And Spurs have won by 4 goals to 3. A fine first half, a rather flagging second half in the heat.
I think we ought to clear up the confusion of that last Tottenham goal. Martin Peters told me afterwards he did not get a touch to it. In fact, it deflected off a Stoke defender. But he added with a smile that Ralph Coates was determined to claim it for his own. But now let's have a view of the game as a whole from Jimmy Hill.
Indeed, it was a strange game, and I see one paper this morning described it as summer madness. 7 goals, we thoroughly enjoyed them, but not really a great one, I would say, among them. 2 good things from Spurs' point of view. One at the top of the team, the aged end of the team, with Alan Gilzean's performance, and at the other end, young John Pratt, who did a bit for himself in gaining confidence and also enabled the crowd to get more confidence in him. Brian talked to him after the game, and he was extremely flattering about all the qualities that go to make up Alan Gilzean's performance.
Well, I suppose, you know, like Gilly played a big part in both of them. You know, he's such a danger in the air, and I think when he's not playing, we really miss him in the air. He lays on a lot of goals for us.
But you certainly returned the compliment with the cross, didn't you, for his
yeah,
flying
well,
header.
you know, he's the daddy in the air, isn't he, you know. And,
But what about Alan Gilzean? A week or 2 ago, I did say about him that he couldn't have all that long left. Well, as long as he's there, he's determined to entertain the Spurs crowd in the way in which they like. A really unselfish player, a marvellous player in the air. I've said it before, I'll say it again. No one is better when it comes to deflecting balls with his head. Look how he makes that chance there for Chivers. Outstanding skill. And look at this one coming up now. Unselfishness and also a football brain working. A chest trap back to say, how about hitting that one in the net? Laying on chances for other people. But he did his bit of magic on his own. In the second half, this came just near the end there. Still plenty of run. He shows the ball to the fullback and then off he goes down the line. And a curling cross in the middle, just too far ahead there of Ralph Coates. And again, in the last minute, a lovely deflection there, flicked off with his foot to Peters, but he's wanting it back again. He's still full of running, is Alan Gilzean, in the last few minutes of the game. And his goal, a typical Gilzean goal. This time, it was John Pratt's turn to make it for him. He's taking the cross there, and in comes Alan Gilzean, and again, that marvellous ability to deflect the ball with his head just where he wants it. Really first-class entertaining performance from Alan Gilzean. The Spurs team started off brilliant. They played some lovely football in the first half and really bewildered Stoke, and it was very sweet to watch. But after half-time, when Stoke came at them and really got to grips with their game, then I think Spurs showed their weaknesses. If they really want to win the Championship, they've got to concentrate a lot more when they're in front, and they've got to win their 50-50 tackles at